Come to the South, do some dumb shit, get smoked, and next thing you know, everybody looking around. They got all the guns in the South, bro. They do. They laws is different. They do. Shit, Texas got defensive property. You breaking my car, I get to shoot you. That don't exist nowhere else.
LUL Tim was the most hated man in Chicago before he allegedly got caught lacking in Texas last night. And the ucked up part is, the street's been waiting for this moment ever since he took King Von's life back in 2020 and started trolling with his goofy ass. Let's break down what really happened and how this whole beef been brewing for years, fam. LUL Tim, real name Timothy Leaks, is a street dude from Savannah, Georgia, who became the #1 op to basically all of Chicago and King Von meat riders. See, Tim wasn't even supposed to be in that situation, but when you rolling with Quando Rondo, you gotta be ready for whatever smoke comes with it. Growing up in Savannah, Tim was always about that life. The Georgia streets ain't no damn joke, and Tim learned early that you either stand on business or get stepped on. He was known in his hood as someone who wasn't gonna back down from no situation, the type of shorty who would rather die on his feet than live on his knees. When he linked up with Quando Rondo's crew, he became the muscle. The type of dude who was always strapped and ready to protect his people at all costs. Quando needed someone like Tim around because he had beef with multiple gangs, especially after all that NBA YoungBoy drama started heating up. But Tim's whole life changed on November 6th, 2020, outside that Monaco hookah lounge in Atlanta. That's when he made the decision that would put a permanent target on his back from one of Chicago's most dangerous blocks. What was supposed to be a regular night out turned into the moment that would define the rest of his life. The crazy part is, Tim probably didn't even know who King Von really was before that night. He just saw his homie Quando getting pressed and did what any loyal soldier would do. He protected his people. But in doing that, he unknowingly started a war with one of the most savage crews in Chicago. The beef between LUL Tim and OBLOCK goes way deeper than just that one night in Atlanta. No cap. It all started with the ongoing war between King Von's crew and Quando Rondo that had been simmering for months. Von had been dissing Quando for a minute, and every time they crossed paths, the tension got thicker. See, King Von wasn't just some regular rapper. This dude was OBLOCK royalty. He came up under Chief Keef and Lil Durk, but Von had that special combination of street credibility and rap talent that made him untouchable. He was bringing millions to the block through his music while still keeping that savage reputation that made even the hardest dudes respect him. But when Tim took all that away with a few trigger pulls outside that hookah spot, it wasn't just another street casualty. It was the loss of OBLOCK's golden boy, their meal ticket.
Yeah, Rick and Sean, according to GBI, rapper King Von and his group were at Opium nightclub before making their way here to Monaco Hookah Lounge, then to the parking lot where chaos ensued.
And their most respected shooter all rolled into one. The whole block felt that loss personally because Von represented everything they stood for. Ever since then, OBLOCK members been plotting on how to get their get back. They can't let that slide, not when it comes to King Von. The whole block been on a mission to catch Tim slipping, and they've been making it known they ain't stopping until they get their revenge. This ain't just about street politics. This is personal. The crazy part is, OBLOCK really been putting in work trying to slide on Tim. In 2022, 3 OBLOCK members, Munna Mary, Switchion, and Timoni, got arrested in Atlanta for stealing a car and allegedly trying to hunt down LUL Tim. These dudes was so determined to get their lick back that they was willing to risk their freedom just for a chance to catch Tim lacking. That arrest showed how serious OBLOCK was about getting revenge. They wasn't just talking tough on social media, they was really out here putting their lives and freedom on the line to honor Von's memory. The fact that they got caught shows how hard it is to move on Tim, but it also shows they ain't giving up. But here's where it gets disrespectful, and this is what really been driving OBLOCK crazy. LUL Tim been trolling them ever since that night. Instead of laying low like most people would after taking out someone as respected as King Von, Tim been doing the complete opposite. He been making songs dissing Von and basically laughing at OBLOCK's failed attempts to catch him. In his music, Tim was straight up mocking the situation, talking about how he smoked Von and how OBLOCK can't touch him. The disrespect was crazy twin. He wasn't just defending his actions, he was celebrating them. That type of energy is what really got under OBLOCK's skin. Then he dropped shots at the party, where he was bragging about that night in Atlanta and how he ain't worried about no retaliation. Tim was basically telling the whole world that he took out Chicago's golden boy and wasn't losing no sleep over it. That's the type of disrespect that starts wars in the streets. The most disrespectful part is how Tim been using King Von's death as a punchline in almost every song he makes. In Who Wants Smoke, he was talking about how Von got smoked and how he's ready for whatever OBLOCK wants to bring. He even been posting on social media with captions that reference that night, knowing it's gonna get under OBLOCK's skin. This type of trolling is what really been driving OBLOCK crazy. It's one thing to defend yourself in a situation, but it's another thing to keep poking the bear and making songs about it. Tim been treating King Von's death like it's some type of trophy, and that's what got OBLOCK members so heated they've been willing to risk everything just to get him. The psychological warfare Tim been playing is actually pretty smart from a survival standpoint. By staying in the public eye and constantly reminding people what he did, he's making it harder for OBLOCK to move on him quietly. But at the same time, he's adding more fuel to a fire that was already burning hot. The way the streets been reacting to this whole situation shows how deep this beef really runs. King Von fans from all over the country been waiting for Tim to get his comeuppance. Every time Tim drops a new diss track or posts something disrespectful, Von's supporters flood the comments talking about how he's gonna get what's coming to him. But it ain't just fans. Other rappers been picking sides too. Lil Durk, who was like a big brother to Von, been dropping subliminal shots at Tim and Quando Rondo's whole crew. Songs like Pissed Me Off and Backdoor had bars that everybody knew was aimed at Tim, even though Durk never said his name directly. The Chicago rap scene been treating Tim like he's persona non grata. Dudes who might normally stay neutral in beef been making it clear they riding with Von's memory. That's because Von wasn't just respected in OBLOCK, he had love throughout the whole city. Meanwhile, Tim been getting support from his own people in Georgia and some NBA YoungBoy fans who see this as part of the bigger war between YoungBoy's crew and the Chicago scene. But that support ain't enough to protect him from the type of heat OBLOCK been bringing. The social media aspect of this beef been making everything more intense. Every post, every song, every comment gets analyzed by fans looking for clues about what might happen next. It's like the whole hip-hop world been watching this situation unfold in real time, waiting to see how it's gonna end. So last night, the streets was buzzing with news that finally, OBLOCK got their revenge. Word started spreading on Twitter that Lil Tim got caught lacking in Texas and was shot multiple times. The story was that some OBLOCK demons had finally tracked him down and gave him that belt he'd been asking for. The way the news broke was wild. It started with one tweet from what looked like a credible source, and within minutes it was spreading like wildfire. People was retweeting without fact-checking because the story sounded believable. Tim had been moving around different states, and Texas seemed like a logical place for him to get caught slipping. King Von fans was going absolutely crazy celebrating, thinking justice finally got served. They was posting King Von songs and talking about how Von got his get back from the grave. The whole narrative was that Tim finally got what was coming to him after years of disrespecting Von's memory. People was saying he got walked down while a King Von song was playing like some type of poetic justice. The details kept getting more elaborate as the story spread. Some people was saying it happened outside a club, others was saying it was at a gas station. The streets was convinced that OBLOCK had finally completed their mission and that Tim was either dead or fighting for his life in some Texas hospital. The celebration from Von fans was intense. They was posting pictures of Von with captions like "Long live King Von" and "Justice served." Some people was even posting the crying, laughing emoji showing how happy they was that Tim allegedly got his karma. But here's the thing about social media. You can't believe everything you see, especially when it comes to street beef. The internet loves a good story, and sometimes people create narratives that sound too good to be true because they usually are. The fact that no major news outlets was reporting it should have been a red flag. Just when everybody thought Lil Tim was done for, he hit Twitter with a simple hat emoji, and anybody who knows street social media knows that means cap. Tim was basically saying the whole story was fake news, and he was still alive and well. That one emoji probably crushed the spirits of thousands of King Von fans who thought they was finally getting closure. Turns out the whole thing was started by a fake Twitter page that was just trolling. Some random account made up the story about Tim getting shot in Texas, and it spread like wildfire because people wanted to believe it was true. The account even had a profile picture and bio that made it look legitimate, which is why so many people fell for it. This is exactly the type of situation that shows how dangerous social media can be when it comes to street beef. False information can spread faster than the truth, and people can end up making moves based on lies. If OBLOCK members had seen that fake news and thought Tim was already handled, they might have let their guard down. Or worse, if they thought it was real and wanted to finish the job, they could have ended up in a dangerous situation chasing ghosts. Tim posting that hat emoji was his way of letting everybody know he's still breathing and still ready for whatever. It was also another way for him to troll his enemies, showing them that even when they think they got him, he's still untouchable. The timing of his response was perfect too. He waited just long enough for the story to spread before shutting it down. The aftermath of the fake news showed how invested people really are in this beef. When Tim revealed it was cap, Von fans was heated that they got their hopes up for nothing. Some people was even mad at themselves for believing it without verification. What's really interesting about this whole situation is the psychological aspect of the beef. Tim been playing mind games with OBLOCK for years now, and last night's fake news was just another example of how this war been fought on multiple levels. By constantly trolling and staying visible, Tim been forcing OBLOCK to think about him every day. Every song he drops, every social media post, every public appearance is a reminder that he's still out here living his life while Von is gone. That type of psychological pressure can drive people to make desperate moves. But Tim's strategy is also risky because it keeps him in the spotlight when he should probably be laying low. Most people who get into this type of situation try to disappear and start over somewhere else. Tim been doing the opposite. He's been making himself a bigger target every day. The fake news incident shows how much people want to see this beef resolved. The fact that thousands of people immediately believed and celebrated the story about Tim getting shot reveals how much emotional investment there is in this situation. People ain't just watching this beef, they're living it. OBLOCK members probably saw that fake news too, and it might have reminded them that the streets is still waiting for them to get their revenge. The pressure on them to deliver justice for Von ain't just coming from their own block, it's coming from fans all over the world. The reality is, this beef between LUL Tim and OBLOCK ain't going nowhere anytime soon. Tim been moving smart, staying in different states and keeping security around him, but OBLOCK members still got that same energy they had back in 2020. They still want their get back, and they ain't gonna stop until they get it. What makes this situation even more dangerous is how public it's become. Usually street beef stays in the streets, but this whole thing been playing out on social media and in rap songs. Every time Tim drops a diss track or posts something disrespectful, it just adds more fuel to the fire. The fake news about Tim getting shot shows how much people want to see this beef come to an end. King Von fans been waiting for justice, and OBLOCK members been waiting for their opportunity. But the longer this goes on, the more dangerous it becomes for everybody involved. And Tim might think he's untouchable because he's been avoiding OBLOCK for this long, but the streets got a long memory. OBLOCK members ain't gonna forget what happened to Von, and they definitely ain't gonna stop trying to catch Tim slipping. It's just a matter of time before something real happens, and when it does, it probably won't be fake news spreading on Twitter. The fact that OBLOCK members was willing to risk their freedom in 2022 shows they ain't playing games. They really bout that action, and they ain't gonna let Tim keep disrespecting Von's memory without consequences. At the end of the day, this whole situation is a perfect example of how street beef can spiral out of control. What started as a confrontation outside a hookah lounge has turned into a years-long war that's been playing out in public. LUL Tim might have survived last night's fake news, but the real threat is still out there. The fact that people were so quick to believe Tim got shot shows how much tension is still in the air. King Von's death left a void that OBLOCK members been trying to fill with revenge, and Tim's constant trolling just keeps poking at that wound. Whether Tim really thinks he's invincible or he's just putting on a front, the reality is that this type of beef usually only ends one way. OBLOCK got too much pride and too much love for King Von to just let this slide forever, and Tim got too much ego to stop trolling and just disappear. The street's been watching this situation for years now, and everybody knows it ain't over. Tim can post all the hat emojis he wants, but that don't change the fact that he's still got a target on his back. OBLOCK ain't the type of crew to just forget about their fallen soldier. So while last night might have been capped, the real situation is still very much active. Tim might be laughing now, but in the streets, the last laugh usually belongs to whoever's still standing when the smoke clears. And right now, both sides still got smoke for each other. The street's been waiting for this moment since 2020, and even though last night was fake, it shows that when the real moment comes, the whole hip-hop world gonna be watching. Until then, LUL Tim better keep his head on a swivel because OBLOCK ain't done with him yet. This beef ain't ending with no fake Twitter posts. It's gonna take something real to close this chapter, and everybody knows it.